Wednesday or Thursday?
Wednesday,
Okay.
11 o'clock.
We are now live streaming, and I will be right back.
Roundabout on that whole thing with the signals.
I don't understand.
I don't either.
I'm really confused. I had a conversation with DOT a while back about Walmart.
Yeah.
And I wondered if they got,
What do they have to do with the signal?
at Aurora, they shouldn't have
Any
anything.
of them, any of the others.
Well, they were, Walmart and William tie into Transit and William for timing. That was
Well, I'm
fine.
talking about the boxes that we're trying to put in.
Nothing.
Yeah, I'm not.
No, I mean, what I read, they were saying they had jurisdiction over Aurora and William. I'm like, why? That's why I asked
Listen,
Elizabeth.
there's some confusion that we need to straighten out.
Yeah.
If that's holding the grant up,
That's why I told Elizabeth, I said, tell me who you're talking
After they
to.
buy their ice cream, where are they gonna go?
Once I get the name, I'll get to it.
because it's like, they
Go
talked,
right into
they left a message for you,
There's
like,
nothing
they talked to you, and
stopping
no, you did.
I haven't seen any
I know.
plans
I
that
said there's a
show
lot of
I talked to him
confusion.
about
You know,
Walmart, and I
they're
wondered if
gonna
they're
be stopped
confused.
from.
They're
turning
confusing
right.
the two,
That's why I
I haven't
think.
got
because
that.
Walmart is,
Are you talking about when they come
William
out of
as
the
well.
drive-through?
Yeah, Walmart's part of the
I don't know where
transit.
the drive-through
Yeah,
even
They're
is.
redoing some stuff in
by
transit.
that corridor, so.
I was asked to
I'll talk to whoever's
draft a
the name of
resolution
it.
based on the terms and conditions. Maybe Matt will be able to shed some light on that. I don't know where the
You know where the,
site plan goes to that.
where the Sandersons, after you go through the drive-through, it appears to be on the south side, do they go around the back and come out through the Value parking lot over there? Or do they have the option of going out through Michael Anthony as well?
They would have the option to go out Mark Anthony. Well, there's a,
Then I'm not gonna vote for it.
there's a driveway already there.
In tough shape.
Yeah, I know. It's already a crowded street. It's gonna get much more crowded, so.
It's in tough shape.
Okay.
You good?
Right.
I guess we can get going.
What's that?
We can get going.
Okay.
It's being recorded. So I guess, Matt, anything from your department you'd like to discuss?
Nothing that out of the ordinary. I did submit this morning the storm, the MS4 report for the month of March, and had our discussion at our drainage committee meeting a little while ago. So we're formulating a meeting, May 3rd, tentatively, to discuss how we're going to handle these facilities in the future and making notifications and hopefully going a step in the right direction.
And that meeting includes you, Ed, myself, Hudson Russ, and we're gonna try and solicit one of the board members. It's a 10 o'clock in the morning meeting and it is virtual, so depending on which of you might be able to make it, obviously, no more than two.
I also didn't mention at that meeting that April 15th through the 17th, I will be in Syracuse for the Stormwater Managers and Floodplain Administrators Conference, just to get my hours in, but the DEC is also going to present, some of the hot topics of the new Speedies permit for the MS4 program. So it's going to, hit the highlights of what the major changes are in that permit that we do. So once that's through, I'll be able to report back to the board.
Ed?
Yeah, I got a few things. We got a couple minutes. First of all, projects real quick. Senior Center, the design is in final review for the gazebo sidewalks and pickleball.
Pickleball, yep.
The sewer issue out there, we just finished up a little bit of a survey, so we're hopefully going to have the solution for that. We've been working with Highway on that issue. Sewer coming out of the senior center it's been plugged a couple times. Temporarily, we were able to take the trap out. Department of Health allowed us to. The proposal from the plumber was to put in about a $45,000 grinder system, and I'm like, this thing has worked fine for 20-some years. What's the issue here? So we did a little survey highway thinks, once we figure out what's going on, that they can probably do the repair, or even if we had to bring somebody in, it's just gonna be some pipe work, which will be much cheaper.
And the other, with a grinder system, I mean, Matt, correct me if I'm wrong, but we don't allow those in the town, correct?
Well,
Grinder pumps?
Erie County District 4 does not generally permit them.
Yeah. So I know the resident would be allowed to have, I don't think it'd be a good idea to have one of our town.
No, and I'm scratching my head of why we would want one there when we haven't had one in 20 years.
Issues that could be caused.
Yeah, something else is going on, that's what.
If
That's
you
the
have
reason why they
gravity,
don't want 'em.
you shouldn't have it, and you're just introducing more maintenance that,
Yeah.
Yeah, cost. Historical building next door, the notice to bidders is out. Bid opening is April 14th. The mold has been remediated. We got a letter today from the mold company, says it's clear, it's clean. So anything they want to do inside the historical society, if they want to do some sheet rock or painting, and they're clear to go. The Historical Society county grants, they had given us a go-ahead on the HVAC. I think it's on tonight's agenda to go out to bid for that. And then the bid opening, if that goes through, will be on the 26th. And then the schoolhouse work, we got the contracts from the county, so that can move ahead. We have a meeting this week to finalize the scope, because Karen had gotten quotes, but there's some differences in the scope, and I just want to make sure we're all on the same page. And the county I did talk to the county. That does not have to go out to formal bid. It'll allow us to get 3 quotes for each item because of the price, so that'll save a little work, which would be nice.
Great.
Youth Bureau door replacement bid documents are ready. The issue with that was whether or not we wanted to go out to bid prior to having the county's check in the bank, or you wanted to wait. It's up to the board.
What do you recommend?
Well, I mean, it's documents are ready to go. It's a matter of how the town was going to pay. I mean, I know they're getting a memorandum, or whatever you want to call it, from the county for that, to Darrell's office. I think they okayed it. I just don't know when the money shows up for the town.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's the board's call. We can put it out to bid.
Well,
I mean, I'll have it on the
like to
agenda.
get it done as
I'll have it on the
soon as
agenda.
possible.
Yeah, right, I'll have it on the agenda.
The money's coming, right?
I'll have it on the agenda for the next meeting to go out to bid. It's ready to go, so. What else we got? I have no update on the Siebert Road culvert from DOT. I looked again today, and I'll talk about that a little bit under the capital projects.
So they haven't said whether we're going to get the money yet or not?
No.
Okay.
Erie Street water line, all the water line work is complete. The town's doing some ditch work on the north side of the road. Once that's done, we'll meet out there with a paving contractor as part of the work and get that wrapped up. Genesee Street and Bowen water line is out to bid, opening on the 13th. And the new item on the list is the town hall soffits up front. The architect was here Friday, up on the lift. I just got that report this afternoon, so I'll get copies out to everybody, but
They put the quotes together?
there's no prices yet,
No,
no.
okay.
I mean, this was
Yeah, one of the
just,
things we were discussing was they were talking about patching, putting a patch up, which to me is a waste, because you're gonna be out there again, doing the job the right way. I mean, they're gonna give us quotes for both, but my theory, again, I'm only one person, but say we had to throw 50 grand into it, and then all of a sudden, 3 months down the road, you're gonna have to correct it the right way and throw another 100. I'd rather throw 100 and a quarter in once, versus throwing away 25,000. Just, I don't know how the quotes are gonna come in.
Yeah, I don't know either. I mean-
But you're talking about having people come in here twice.
yes.
There's gonna be some cost to having them come in here twice. So I'd rather look at the whole ball versus, two components.
The, what they were able to determine, which is kind of good news, is the wood itself is not in bad shape. It's the
The
nails holding it onto the building have rotted off. There are some pieces that have to be replaced, and they can make those out of PVC or fiberglass. But they gave us 3 options in this report. One was to go up there, take off the pieces that have to be taken off, replace them all the rest of them re-secure them to the building correctly, or, it's just over time. And then scraping and painting everything, obviously. Now, they did test while they were here Friday. It is lead paint, which is what we figured. And there is some asbestos, we believe, in the caulk, so that'll just be an item of cost when they actually do the work. Option B and C were taking everything down and replacing it with PVC or fiberglass molded replacement. It's a maintenance-free item, but it's much more costly to do. So once we get the cost, we'll have a recommendation. The issue with doing it once is, while they're all supposed to get back to me, based on, when they were up there looking at it, they actually screwed in some pieces that they found loose while they were up there. And I want their recommendation of, can we open that entrance back up? That's a liability issue, so I really want them to tell us whether we can open it or not.
I think they said even if we take the short route, we're gonna be down at least 3 weeks anyway.
Yeah,
So,
so, that's for the soffit. Last item is capital projects. I realized nobody had really spoken to the board, and we had met, I don't know, 6, 8 weeks ago, initially with Highway, myself, Highway, Parks, Finance, and it was just kind of, okay, what's the list of projects or capital bonding that is being looked at this year? I was given a list of projects, so I put costs together for them. That's all there was. We had a conversation last week with outside counsel for the bond resolutions. The bonds are typically sold in July, so you have to work backwards because there's a 30-day estoppel period and there's other stuff that has to happen. So working backwards, the bond resolutions would need to be passed ideally at the next meeting, 2 weeks. The projects, as we've got them listed right now, are Highway was looking to rebuild Warner Road from Pleasant View to the town line. Complete reconstruction, drainage, new pavement, new subbase. And I also looked at, because I know there's a speed issue out there on Warner, of possibly installing some speed tables, not speed bumps, but speed tables that would slow the traffic down. Cost of that is, estimate is 1.6 million. There were 3 water line projects off the county's list. Erie Street, we did Erie Street right now from cemetery to pavement. The county has all of Erie Street on the list, from Steinfeld to town line. Yeah, and obviously you're not gonna do all that at once. So we did the one section because that was the worst, and from a paving perspective, it was the worst, so we combined it with the town wanting to repave the street, road. So for this year, we put in from cemetery back to Steinfeld. That kind of gets you back to the beginning, so that at that point then from Steinfeld, the pavement is done, and you can kind of keep working yourself east, a section at a time over the years. Also cemetery from Broadway to Erie, and then from Erie to Wendling, sorry. Those 3 combined are 3.5 million, again for bonding. And then the last piece is Seabrook Road culvert at 650,000. I talked to John Alessi from Hodgson and explained to him what's going on with Seabrook, and we're waiting for the grant. And his recommendation would be, so we don't miss the calendar here, go ahead and bond for it. You never have to spend the bond. I mean, if you don't spend it, you cost a little money to put the bond together, but you just never spend the bond if you were to get the grant and decided to go that way. And then by bonding for it, if you don't get the grant, you're ready to go. So,
we should be hearing about that grant.
anytime, yeah, I mean, we've called a couple times, they told us in March, March is coming
Yeah.
on, so we'll push again. It's DOT, so other areas of the state they've been announced, so that's why we were hopeful they were working their way west across the state or whatever, but, so all total, it's, 3.5, 4.5, 5, about $5.5 million worth of bonding.
And is there anything in there for recreation?
No, there was no equipment this year at all. No trucks, no town equipment, no parks equipment, no, nothing.
How about buildings?
Nothing. Now, the only thing I asked, now, what I did ask for because of the soffit issue, and I just don't have the numbers yet. We had a bond, it was either last year or 2 years ago, I think it was last year, for the work here. We had some, we had money set aside for work here. It was part of what we were doing with the windows, and we didn't spend it all, so I asked for, I wanted to know what the balance of that was. I doubt it'll be enough to take care of the soffits, that's my guess, but I don't know that for a fact. If I can get a number for those soffits in time, I would suggest we add it in here. I mean, it's not gonna be huge compared to all the rest of it together, but you need the money in there to get it done.
Sure.
If you're okay with these projects, I would let bond council know, because they do all the resolutions, write them up for you. And the other thing we need a seeker determination on each one of these projects, which I would work with your office. They're all type 2s, so it's real simple, but you have to have one for each bond. I can get those over to you this week if these are all gonna be a go. So, I don't know, what's the board's pleasure?
I don't have a problem with it, but I think we need to add some money in there for buildings. We got a lot of work to be done on the buildings, just to
Yeah,
make sure we can get everything accomplished.
Yeah. like
And
I
again, if
said.
we don't spend it, we're just paying for the process to get it to that point, right?
Yeah, I mean, I can ask if maybe we can put together a general building bond fund. I mean, I don't know how, the bonds sometimes are a little loose in what they can be used for, and sometimes they're very specific. If it can, I'll talk to John Alessi, if they can be loose, so we've got some flexibility, then maybe we throw, you can tell me, 250,000 into a pot, or 500,000 into a pot.
I'd say 500.
I mean, you use it upon approval of each project as we go along, but at least you've got a fund sitting there. So that's, I mean, I'll talk to John about that, it's fine with me.
I don't know.
Nobody gave me any projects for me.
Yeah, I know we have that thing that Michelle did with the capital improvements for the parks.
Yeah.
Some were floating around, but I don't know
Yeah, again, nobody, I mean, I've met with
if
them a
there's any,
couple times. And,
yeah, if there's any projects that can be scratch off that list, I don't know.
the only thing that they talked to me about last week, again, was the backstops and stuff for Brickyard. Which
About the inclusive playground, Dave?
Well, the playground, yeah, they've gone a couple times for a grant, obviously haven't been successful, whether you want a bond for that, that was about I don't remember off the top of my head, I want to say $300,000.
It was close to 300,000,
Yeah,
yeah, itself, just for that inclusive
and the
playground.
backstop for Brickyard, it's a pretty big field, is probably $125,000 project. You want to put 500,000 in a pot for parks too, I mean, that's, again, your call, I'll talk to Leslie to write them up.
Well, where else are we getting the money from if?
Well, yeah, no, I mean, I don't, yeah.
In addition, we don't use it.
Yeah, if you don't, I mean, if you don't
But at
use it,
least
you don't.
It's there if we,
And I think the inclusive
Do-
playground, we've tried twice, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it got turned down twice.
Yeah, the inclusive playgrounds have been turned.
Yeah, turn down twice for the playground. Yeah, I mean, the nice thing about a bond, there's a little bit of money to get it, but if you don't spend it, you're not paying on it, obviously. But it's there to tap if you have to. Now, I mean, I know the backstops for Brickyard, they tried to do them last year and the prices just came in way over what they thought it was gonna be. And, yeah, I mean, the playground they've talked about now for 2 or 3 years, and that one that's out there is in tough shape.
Yeah, we've been kind of piecemealing it together.
So I'll talk to Alessi about that till, I mean, I know he works with your office, Diana, with all the resolutions and stuff. I'll work on the seekers, which will be pretty straight, they'll be same resolution, just gonna change the project name in each one.
Right.
They're all pretty simple. And so for the next meeting, I'll have the type 2 designations for the seekers, and then John will have the resolutions on. And the only one different is the water lines have an extra step, there has to be a hearing set for those, and there's a hearing, and then following meeting, you do the resolution. That's all I have.
All right, that's all. Anything from clerk's office? Attorney's office? Chief, police department? No? All right, let's run through the resolution. So 1 and 2 are the normal minutes and the audit claims, those are mine. And Councilmember Mazur, number 3.
Yeah, number 3 is the bi-weekly building permit application report.
And number 4, this is an agreement that we continue to re-up. It's the agreement with the town of Alden for fire protection to fire hydrants. And Councilmember Mazur, 5, 6, and 7.
Number 5 is authorizing a special use permit for Take 5 Oil on Transit Road, 4885 Transit Road for oil change place. Number 6 is to set a public hearing for an athletics detail business at 515 Pavement Road. Third one, number 7, is to authorize a special use permit for 7-Eleven at 4949 Transit Road. Number 8 is Adams.
Number 8 is Councilmember Dickman.
Number 8 is just a special use permit renewal for Autowave Inc. at 1035 Ransom Road.
Back to Councilmember Mazur, number 9.
Number 9 is to authorize a special use permit for AC Power on the solar panel farm out there on Gunville.
I'd like to add some of the conditions back in there that have been taken out. The bond that's needed for decommissioning on that is subject to inflation. We can't just cut that off right at this point in time. That should be something that we're looking at every 2 years, so I think we should leave it on there and then make determinations every couple of years how much money it's going to cost to decommission this thing. So I'd ask that that condition be put back on there. And the other one about where the panels are coming from, I believe they sent us invoices that they were coming from Cambodia. Matt, did you ever go out there and check the panels to see where they're coming from?
I had not physically seen the panels themselves. Most of them, they're about 30 days away from completing that project.
Okay,
But
well,
I wasn't aware of the delivery dates, nor was it one of the requirements for a building permit inspection outside of the footings.
okay. Well, it was one of the conditions on here, so I think we need to verify where they said they were coming from, so if we could put those two back on. I'd be better with this particular resolution.
Agree. I mean, if it was on there, it shouldn't be taken off.
I don't have the original, so.
And especially with the panels. I mean, if we get pigeonholed into a certain amount now, and it's so much, it's going to be on the taxpayers. So that should be on every 2 years and reassessed, absolutely.
Yeah, if it was on the original one that we did, I think we should keep it on as well. It protects us, like you explained.
So what do-
Something happens.
I guess the question is, how do we word this?
Well, 2 choices. You can either table it for tonight and we can redraft it, or you can verbally
Add the conditions.
re-add those conditions, and we can just make sure that the final version that comes, reads that way, and I happen to have the original with me. So we can add those.
If you just want to table it, it might be, if it's going to be a lot
Make it
of
easy.
wording.
It's
gonna
not
be a lot
going
of
to
wording.
affect their current permit if we table it. It's not going to hold up anything or change.
No, it's
anything.
not.
We're still going to go with business as usual, just vote on it at the next meeting. That's the only.
Whatever you guys want me to do.
What's your resolution?
And that, we can table and just put it on for 2 weeks.
All right, and so you want to re-add, I just want to make sure, you want to re-add 4?
Yeah, I can see it for a second. I don't have it memorized.
4's,
Yes.
all right. 3, does 3 come back in?
Oh, did we hear anything from New York
Yes.
State Department of Environmental Conservation?
Yes. Following the resolution, they issued a permit on September 3rd, which I was able to get my hands on today. So that, number 3 is satisfied.
Okay, do they have to come back and look at it again to make sure they met the requirements that are in there?
The requirements in here are simply that they do not disturb additional earth beyond that portion which is to be improved, and they have to follow, every 3 years, they have to cut it and mow it so as not to disturb the sandpiper, please forgive me, the name of the endangered species.
Yeah, and I will say typically, DEC would be inspecting it during construction. I mean, they've been out, I'm sure, periodically watching the cap.
Okay, so, again, just so, to be clear, they're gonna come in, they're gonna watch the cap, if something goes wrong, they're gonna shut it down themselves?
For the landfill.
Nothing we need to
yeah.
worry about in
Yeah,
our...
for the landfill, yeah, I mean, that's under their jurisdiction.
Okay, so it'd be 4 and 5 then?
4 and 5.
Yep.
You got it.
So we're going to table it for this meeting, and we'll do it for next meeting. Well, pull, I shouldn't say table, we're going to pull it from this meeting.
Table.
Tabled it. And then 3 add 4 and 5.
Okay. Councilmember Burkhart, number 10, please.
Confirm membership roster for Twin District.
Number 11 goes to Councilmember Dickman.
Number 11 is to set a public hearing for a special use permit for Back Home and Yard Services LLC, and it's for storage on 515 Pavement Road. And that's going to be the next meeting, we'll have the public hearing.
12 and 13 go back to Councilmember Burkhart.
Request bids for Opera House HVAC. 13, approve expenditure of funds for emergency repairs Town Hall building.
Okay, over to Councilmember Dickman for 14.
This is the approval for the special use permit for Ransom Auto Parts at 867 Ransom Road.
Councilmember Mazur, number 15.
Is to adopt a negative declaration for seeker, negative declaration at Edgewater East at 6026 Broadway.
16 goes to Councilmember Burkhart.
Authorize supervisor to execute intermunicipal agreement regarding police captain attendance to the village and special board meetings.
Okay, and then Councilmember Mazur, number 17.
Number 17 is to accept or adopt a negative declaration, seeker negative declaration at the Genesee Park Lane development at 5428 Genesee Street.
And Councilmember Dickman, number 18.
Number 18 is another special use permit renewal, and this is for Anderson's Bros and Custard on Transit Road.
Okay, 19 goes to me, and that's to allow the Lancaster Garden Club to use the senior center parking lot. And 20 is Councilmember Leary's.
Number 20 is to appoint Andrew Strait of the town of Lancaster to the IDA, Lancaster Industrial Development Agency.
I got a question on that. Sure. I didn't know there was an opening, and I know we got the three people that sent letters in. What's going on with Ms. McNichol? I mean, I guess
Ms. McNichol is in the audience tonight.
I don't know, like I said, I'm only hearing things that, you know.
We could probably ask the questions during the meeting.
Okay.
On the question when he presents the resolution.
Okay.
Sure, I can explain it to you now if you want.
Yeah, I mean, it's,
Yeah, basically, Ms. McNichol hasn't made it to the last 4 meetings. The attorney for the IDA told us at the last meeting that we were supposed to fill that seat. We went out and we got some applications from different people who were interested in joining the IDA, and Mr. Strait came with some good recommendations, and therefore I'm pushing forward with that resolution at this point.
We also have a process to put it on our website and advertise it for a certain amount of time. That was never done either, but I'll save that for the resolution.
I mean, I want to hear what Ms. McNichol has to say about her absentees.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I think we'll break. We got 2 minutes before we start our meeting. Chief?
I don't talk to Chief, too.
Yes.
yourself.
No more snow.
Oh, don't say that.
Don't say that.
We're going to need that.
Yeah, I'm so glad I took the run side of our house once for time. And the one blew over.
Is this a new one? Replacement?
Yeah. My neighbor thought it was a perfect Christmas tree. Already, he goes to me, oh, her tree.
Yeah.
You want to see the rest of it on that roof? We took them all down. Don't got to worry about wind no more. It was a perfect Christmas tree on that.
Okay. We'll call the meeting to order. Dan, would you please do the roll call?
Councilmember Burkhart.
Here.
Councilmember Dickman.
Here.
Councilmember Leary.
Here.
Councilmember Mazer.
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino.
Here. Councilmember Mazer, would you do the pledge and invocation, please? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
40 years ago, I had the opportunity to play football in this town for a great coach and teacher, Mr. Joseph Foyle. Coach Foyle passed away last week at the age of 97. Over a 40-year period, Coach Foyle influenced so many young men and women in this community. He taught his players to be humble and always give it their best effort on and off the field. He taught a strong concept of teamwork and working together to get the job done. Thank you, Coach, for everything you did for this community. Godspeed, Coach. You will be missed.
Tonight's meeting, we have 19 pre-filed since we're tabling one. Number 9 is being tabled. We have no suspended resolutions, no public hearings. We have 2 executive sessions, one being under number 2 for Parks and Recreation, and the second one being under number 1. It's proposed pending or current litigation. We'll be closing in memory of Donald J. Ventura, former police officer, Coach Joe Foyle, Richard Vianney, John Tulinsky, Bert Lyon, and Isabel Egan. At this point, I'll allow anybody from the audience to speak on the 19 pre-filed resolutions by show of hands. After I call you, please come up to the podium, state your name and address, so our clerk can report it properly. Yes?
Good evening, Lynn Ruda, 158 Irwinwood Road in Lancaster. I'm here to speak tonight on the resolution regarding the appointment of a new addition to the Lancaster IDA. I would urge you to consider keeping Shannon McNichol on the board. I know that in the previous year we had precedent where we had a member who missed 4 meetings and was not replaced. It is my understanding that nobody reached out to Shannon to find out what her individual circumstances were prior to her this resolution being here, which would relieve her of her position. I believe that she is an incredible advocate for our community. She is a strong female business owner who has an incredibly successful business in Lancaster, which I think is important. I think as the mayor of the community, I see 15 to 20 female-owned businesses. I think it's an important voice to have at the table. I think you've appointed her not 1 year in a row, but 2 years in a row, and would ask that you continue having her serve throughout the remainder of her term. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Anybody else like to speak? Yes?
Duly respect what the mayor said about Sharon McNichol, but watching a lot of the videos from the Lancaster IDA, my prior knowledge is that she was absent for a lot of the IDA meetings. If that's true, then what would be the excuse for wanting to be on such an important committee as the IDA of Lancaster and not showing up at the meetings? Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else like to speak?
Hi everyone, Shannon McNichol, 36 Hillside Parkway, Lancaster. Well, I thought I'd simply come here to introduce myself. I had personal circumstances that kept me from the last few meetings, so I'm just here to say that I'm committed to the remaining 9 meetings of this year. I do deeply care about Lancaster and what's best in the best interest of the town and village, and I'm a very judicial person. I have high integrity. I do run my business like a well-oiled machine. I treat the board, being on a board, the same way. I don't have a lot of time. I am very selective with the boards that I choose to sit on. I'm asked all the time to sit on different committees and different boards throughout all of Erie County and Western New York. And I did commit to this board, and I am here for the remaining 9 months, should you choose to keep me on. You have my word.
Thank you.
Could you just answer a question for me?
Sure.
You said nobody contacted you about where you were for the last 4 months?
No, not from the town board, no.
No, not from the town board? Anybody from the IDA contacted
Kevin
you?
Lee Master left me one voicemail in February or March. I'd have to check.
Okay, nobody from the town board reached out to her?
I spoke with Shannon last week when I knew this was coming up, but that was the first time I spoke with her as soon as I heard about this last week.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure, thank you.
Kevin Lee Master, 720 Schwartz. I have on my phone, January 18th at 1:30, I sent her an email. Prior to that, in January, I called or sent a text message to all the individuals on the board, letting them know what time and date in January we were supposed to meet. I got no responses. I did leave her messages on her phone, which she can say what she wants. I did call her. I didn't want to get into harassment. You only call somebody so many times before harassment kicks in. But I may, well, here, I guess the easiest way is to do it this. Let me find it here. There it is. You want to pass it down? That happened to be the only text I sent that I have on my phone, but there were other phone calls. Unfortunately, my record does not go back that far. And when the December meeting, she did not show up, heard nothing. January, reached out to everybody, heard nothing. After that, I didn't bother, but on all the emails, if you go to the town clerk's office, her email address has been listed on every IDA piece of paperwork coming through, so, and there was no response in that form. So you have to make up your own mind on that. That can be pulled up from the clerk's office. Thank you.
And just so the board knows, she's currently not on the IDA board, okay? When you take an oath of office, you have to get there. When you're appointed, you have to take an oath of office. It's got to be done within 30 days. Now, that didn't happen since she didn't show up at any of the meetings. So right now, she's not even on the IDA board. That's state law, so.
Okay, anybody else like to speak? Second time? Third time? Okay. There's no public hearings, official reports?
I failed to mention during the work session the topic of the 647 Ransom Road split and the roofing permits that had been issued about a year and a half ago or so. So I did commit to reissue any further repairs as was requested earlier today. I just wanted to have the board acknowledge that. The previous owner is still in litigation with the town courts, so I don't feel it'd be proper to penalize new purchaser on the behaviors of the former owner. Thank you.
Anything else? Town board committees? No? Okay. We're going to move on to our resolutions then. I'd like to move resolution number 1. This resolves the minutes of the regular meeting of the town board held March 20th, 2023, being hereby approved. May I have a second? Second. On the question? On the roll, please.
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazer?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes. I'd like to move resolution number 2, and this is out the following audit claims, being hereby ordered paid from the respective accounts as per abstract to be filed in the office of the town clerk by the supervisor's office. It's check run number 040320023. Total amount hereby authorized to be paid is $855,614.55. May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll.
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazer?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes. Councilmember Mazer, number 3, please.
Yes. Mr. Supervisor and Honorable Town Board, I offer the following resolution and move for its adoption. Be it resolved that the following building permit applications be and are hereby reaffirmed. There is a total of 38 permits in the town, 14 in the village, for a total of 52. Now therefore it be resolved that the building and permit applications herein coded CSW for conditional sidewalk waiver being hereby reaffirmed with a waiver of the town ordinance required for sidewalks. However, the waiver is granted upon the express condition that the town of Lancaster at any future date reserves the right to order sidewalk installation at the expense of the property owner.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll.
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazer?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes. I'd like to move resolution number 4. On this resolve, that Supervisor be and is hereby authorized to execute an agreement by and between the Town of Alden on behalf of the Alden Fire Protection District and the Consolidated Water District of the Town of Lancaster, providing for rental of 48 hydrants along the westerly line of the Town Line Road from Shimmer Road south to the south boundary line of Town of Alden, commencing April 1st, 2023, and terminating March 31st, 2028, all in accordance with the terms of the said agreement. May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll.
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazer?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes. Councilmember Mazer, you have numbers 5 through 7, please.
Yes, sir. Mr. Supervisor and Honorable Town Board, I offer the following resolution and move for its adoption. Whereas the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster has held a public hearing on March 20th, 2023 pursuant to Chapter 400 Zoning, Administration and Enforcement, Section 478 of the Code of the Town of Lancaster, entitled Special Use Permits, upon application of Purple Acquisitions, doing business as Take 5 Oil by Alex Deitch, designee of Thomas Manco, property owner of the existing building located at 4885 Transfer Road, as an automotive oil change facility within the Town of Lancaster. And whereas persons for and against such permit have had an opportunity to be heard, and whereas Matt Vachon, Code Enforcement Officer of the Town of Lancaster, has inspected the facility and found the building to be currently vacant with no significant violations, now therefore it be resolved that pursuant to Chapter 400 Zoning, Article 5, Commercial Districts, Section 400-18 and 400-78 of the Code of the Town of Lancaster, Town Code Chapter 418B1A in the Village, Town of Lancaster, New York, does hereby grant Purple Acquisitions, doing business as Take 5 Oil by Alex Deitch, designee for Tom Manco, a special use permit to operate an automotive oil change facility on premises located at 4885 Transfer Road within the Town of Lancaster, upon the conditions set forth in the zoning ordinance and the following conditions for the period beginning April 3rd, 2023, and ending April 2nd, 2025. Number 1, obtain an operational permit from the Building and Zoning Department upon the business occupying the space to ensure fire, safety, property maintenance compliance. 2, the LED message sign must be programmed for stagnant messages at 8-second intervals. Failure to maintain will require the removal of the device upon notification of the town board after prescriptive proceedings if warranted. 3, permit must be renewed every 2 years at no additional cost to the applicant. Number 4, applicant will authorize representatives from the building inspector's office to enter the premises upon reasonable notice to inspect the premises to verify compliance with this permit. 5, applicant will obtain and provide proof of a valid New York State business license from the appropriate regulatory agency for the service being provided. 6, business must operate within all confines of the Town of Lancaster's noise.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll.
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazer?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes.
Resolution number 6, whereas Kevin Heist, owner of Elite Athletics Detail LLC Automotive Detail Shop, has submitted an application for a special use permit to use the existing building located at 515 Pavement Road, Suite 9, Lancaster, New York, as permitted in the Light Industrial District. and in accordance with provisions, Chapter 400-46 of the Code of the Town of Lancaster, and whereas Chapter 400 zoning, Article 14, Administration and Enforcement, Section 400-78, Special Use Permits of the zoning code of the Town of Lancaster, requires that the town board conduct a public hearing before the issuance of a special use permit for the proposed use. Now therefore be it resolved pursuant to Chapter 400-78, Special Use Permits of the Code of the Town of Lancaster, a public hearing on the proposed special use permit for Kevin Heist, owner of Elite Aesthetics Detail, Automotive Detail Shop, to use the existing building at 515 Pavement Road, Suite 9, Lancaster, New York, to operate an automotive detail facility, will be held at Town Hall, 21 Central Avenue, Lancaster, New York, on the 17th day of April, 2023, at 7:05 p.m. local time. And the notice of the time and place of the such hearing be published in Lancaster Bee, a newspaper of general circulation in the town, and be posted on the town bulletin board, and that a copy of such notice of hearing be referred to the Erie County Department of Planning pursuant to Section 239M of the General Municipal Law, which notice shall be in form attached hereto and made part thereof.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart.
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman.
Yes.
Councilmember Leary.
Yes.
Councilmember Mazer.
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino.
Yes.
Resolution number 7, whereas the town board of the town of Lancaster previously held a public hearing pursuant to Section 478 special use permits of the code of the town of Lancaster upon application of Isaac Barnhill, licensing coordinator for 7-Eleven Incorporated, for a special use permit to operate a convenience store with gas station and car wash on the premises located at 4949 Transit Road, town of Lancaster. And the town board issues such a use permit on April 18th, 2022 for a one-year period. And whereas by letter March 6, 2023, Isaac Barnhill has requested the town board renew the special use permit for an additional one-year term. And whereas Matt Fashone, town code enforcement officer, has inspected the property and found it to be in compliance with site plan and prior special use permit approvals and conditions, and with 400-18 of the Lancaster Town Code per his dated March 9, 2023 letter. Now therefore be it resolved as follows, that pursuant to Chapter 400 zoning, Article 5 commercial districts, the town board does hereby grant the special use permit renewal to Isaac Barnhill, licensing coordinator for 7-Eleven Incorporated, to operate a convenience store with gas station and car wash on the premises located at 4949 Transit Road in the town of Lancaster, upon the terms and conditions set forth in the zoning ordinance for the period beginning April 18th, 2023, and ending in April 17th, 2024. 2, the applicant will continue in compliance with conditions set forth in 400-18 General Commercial District, 400-19 Supplementary Regulations for LI and GC districts, and 400-78 Special Use Permits of the Code of the Town of Lancaster, to any additional conditions listed herein, as long as the applicant continues to engage in the occupation listed above on the premises, namely, A, renewal of this permit annually until ongoing deficiencies are regularly maintained at no cost to the applicant. B, the applicant will authorize representatives from the building inspector's office to enter the premises upon reasonable notice to inspect the premises to verify compliance with this permit.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart.
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman.
Yes.
Councilmember Leary.
Yes.
Councilmember Mazer.
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino.
Yes. Councilmember Dickman, number 8, please.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor and Honorable Town Board. I offer Resolution 18 for its adoption. Whereas the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster has held a public hearing upon the application of Igor Los for a special use permit for a 3-bay truck and trailer repair shop and a small office known as AutoWave Incorporated on the premise located at 1035 Ransom Road in the Town of Lancaster, and the Board issued such special use permit on May 15, 2017. And whereas by letter dated March 17, 2023, Igor Los, president of AutoWave Inc., has requested that the Town Board renew the special use permit for an additional 2-year period. And whereas the Code Enforcement Officer has recommended the approval of the special use permit renewal in his letter dated March 30, 2023. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster does hereby grant the special use permit renewal to Igor Los for AutoWave Inc. for a 3-bay truck and trailer repair shop and small office on the premise of 1035 Ransom Road, the Town of Lancaster, upon the terms and conditions set forth in the zoning ordinance for the period beginning May 15, 2023 and ending May 15, 2025, and that the applicant will continue in compliance with the conditions as set forth under administrative enforcement of the Code of the Town of Lancaster, and do any additional conditions listed herein And basically, that's, must comply with the noise ordinance, must be renewed every 2 years. They must authorize representatives from the building inspector's office to enter the premise. The applicant is to provide a copy of their business papers and New York State tax ID numbers, and this permit will terminate when the applicant no longer owns this business.
May I have a second?
Second?
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazur?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes. As stated, we tabled resolution number 9, so Councilmember Burkhart, number 10, please.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor and Honorable Town Board. I am offering Resolution 10 for adoption, whereas Twin District Volunteer Fire Company, by letter received March 27, 2023, has requested the addition of the following member to the roster of said fire association. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster hereby confirms the addition to the membership of the Twin District Volunteer Fire Company, the following individual, Stephen Rosler.
May I have a second?
Second?
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazur?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes. Councilmember Dickman, number 11, please.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Honorable Board, I offer Resolution 11 for its adoption. Whereas Jack Gizorzio, owner of Back Home and Yard Services LLC, has submitted an application for the special use permit to use the existing buildings located at 515 Pavement Road, Suite 12, Lancaster, New York, as a storage building as permitted in L1 Light Industrial Zoning District in accordance with the provisions of Light Industrial and Chapter 400-2A Off-Street Parking, Loading, and Stacking Facilities of the Code of the Town of Lancaster. And whereas the Town of Lancaster requires the Town Board to conduct a public hearing before the issuance of a special use permit for the proposed use. Now therefore be it resolved that pursuant to Chapter 400-78 Special Use Permits of the Code of the Town of Lancaster, a public hearing on the proposed special use permit for Jack Gizorzio, owner of Back Home and Yard Services LLC, to use the existing building located at 515 Pavement Road, Suite 12, Lancaster, New York, as a storage facility will be held at Town Hall, 21 Central Avenue, Lancaster, New York, on the 17th day of April 2023 at 7:05 p.m. local time, and that notice of time and place of such hearing be published in the Lancaster Bee, a newspaper of general circulation in said town, and be posted on the town bulletin board, and that a copy of such notice of hearing be referred to the Erie County Department of Planning pursuant to Section 239M of the General Municipal Law, which notice shall be made in the form attached hereto and made a part hereof.
May I have a second?
Second?
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazur?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes. Councilmember Burkhart, would you do number 12 and 13, please?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Supervisor and Honorable Town Board. I'm offering Resolutions 12 and 13 for adoption. Whereas Ed Schiller of William Shutt Associates, the Town of Lancaster's consulting engineers, by letter dated March 27, 2023, has requested that the Town Board authorize an invitation to bid for Opera House HVAC improvements, 21 Central Avenue, within the Town of Lancaster, and whereas the Town Board has given due review and consideration to the request for HVAC improvements for the Opera House and deems it in the public interest to invite public bids for conformance with General Municipal Law, Section 103 of the State of New York. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster hereby invites public bids for the Opera House HVAC improvements. Said bids are to be in conformance with the plans and specifications which are available at the office of William Shutt Associates, P.C., 37 Central Avenue, Lancaster, New York, and to be received in the office of the Town Clerk, 21 Central Avenue, Lancaster, New York, no later than 10 a.m. local time on April 26, 2023, and open thereafter.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazur?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes.
Resolution 13, whereas by letter dated March 27, 2023, Edward Schiller, the Director of Municipal Projects for the Town of Lancaster, has requested the Town Board approve expenditures for emergency replacement of the soffit at the front of the Town Hall building located at 21 Central Ave, Lancaster, so an investigation and repair design can start immediately. And whereas by letter dated March 27, 2023, Edward Schiller has recommended that the town of Lancaster authorize said expenditure to Kidney Architects, 134 Genesee Street, Buffalo, New York, to inspect and provide temporary measures for the soffit in an amount not to exceed $2,400 per its quote dated March 27, 2023. And whereas there will be additional costs to be billed at an hourly basis in accordance to the need to the test for lead in the paint and asbestos in the caulk at expenses incurred in obtaining a lift and environmental testing. And whereas this project will be paid for with funds from account 01-1620-0426, building repairs and maintenance. Now therefore, be it resolved, the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster hereby approves the expenditures of funds as requested by Edward Schiller, Director of Municipal Projects, to Kidney Architects, to inspect and provide temporary measures for emergency repairs in an amount not to exceed $2,400 per its quote dated March 27, 2023, and to be paid for with the funds allocated in buildings, repairs, and maintenance.
May I have a second
Second?
on the question?
Can I interject? The 2,400 was for the lift. The Denny's price is an hourly, it was an unknown price from Denny for the day that they were out here.
Say it again? What I missed?
Denny's proposal, they didn't list the price, they listed some hourly rates, kind of a time and expense while they were doing the investigation. 2,400 that was attached to their proposal was for the lift that they brought in. And then the other secondary cost was the cost from Stoll for the environmental testing.
All right.
So we don't have an exact figure for the report that we just got.
Understood. You want me to redraft that for next week?
That's the pleasure of the board.
Vote it down.
However we want to work that.
Or we can, on the first, now therefore be it resolved, we can go down to inspect, and get rid of, and provide temporary measures. You say to inspect for emergency repairs, because basically, they needed the lift to inspect.
That was for the
Correct.
lift, right. And then-
Right.
And then Denny's architect, there was not a dollar amount set,
So the 24 was for the lift.
just for the lift.
Right.
Right. And not to repairs in an amount,
Yeah, because we didn't have the equipment to go up there.
No.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, right.
To
They had
inspect.
to bring the lift in.
Once we got the fire department there.
we can do a second, therefore be it resolved, authorizing $2,400 strictly for the lift. And then the rest of the wherefore be it resolved will be per the quote submitted on an emergency basis.
That's fine.
Okay.
Yo,
Will you send that to me?
Yes, absolutely.
Very good.
And I was
Does
still
any of the board
second
members
that.
have a question? You know what we're doing? Okay.
so, do we have a second?
Larry?
No, we had a question.
Yes.
We had a second.
Yes.
Question. Okay, so
we have both.
we have a second with the amendments. Okay, so on the roll, please.
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazer?
Yes.
Supervisor Rafino?
Yes. Okay, Councilmember Dickman, would you present number 14, please?
Yes, just to let everybody know, there's an amendment on 14. There was a typo, and that's in the first paragraph, under the first whereas, on the first line where the original said Chapter 275-10, it should read Chapter 4-3. Whereas Dennis Hanashewski, doing business as Ransom Auto Parts Incorporated, 867 Ransom Road, Lancaster, New York, 14086, has applied for a renewal license to conduct a salvage yard on the premise of 867 Ransom Road in the town of Lancaster pursuant to Chapter 275-10 of the Code of the Town of Lancaster. And whereas the application was referred to the town board for review, and whereas the senior town code enforcement officer, by letter dated March 21st, 2023, has notified the town board that he has completely reviewed and reports the property is out of compliance with the town code. Number one, the salvage yard shall be completely surrounded with a fence, the type and height of which shall be, in the opinion of the town board, will substantially screen the salvage yard operation on all sides thereof. Number 2, all motor vehicles and parts and scrap thereof stored or deposited at the salvage yard shall be kept within the enclosure of the salvage yard, except as removal shall be necessary for the transportation of same in the reasonable course of business. Whereas pursuant to Town Code Chapter 275-11 renewal hearing, a public hearing was held March 20th, 2023, and whereas it is in the recommendation of the Senior Town of Lancaster Code Enforcement Officer that Ransom Auto Parts Incorporated be issued a one-time 6-month probationary license renewal, within which time the applicant must remedy all the deficiencies, and whereas it is the recommendation of the Senior Town of Lancaster Code Enforcement Officer that failure to comply the remedies and that allotted time frame shall result in the forfeiture of license and lead to decommissioning of the facility in compliance with all regulatory agency requirements. Now therefore be it resolved that Dennis Hanaszewski, doing business as Ransom Auto Parts Incorporated, 867 Ransom Road, Lancaster, New York, be and is hereby authorized to conduct a salvage yard on premise situate at 867 Ransom Road, Lancaster, New York, for a probationary period between April 3rd, 2023 and October 2nd, 2023, in strict conformance with the application of the petitioner as filed in the office of Town Clerk. Be it further resolved that the failure to remedy all non-compliant deficiencies cited by the Town of Lancaster or any other regulatory agency before October 2nd, 2023 shall result in license forfeiture and decommissioning of the facility.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question, on the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazur?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes. Councilmember Mazur, would you present resolution number 15, please?
Yes, sir. Mr. Supervisor and Honorable Town Board, offer the following resolution, move for its adoption. Whereas the Town Board is considering the proposed construction of 5 two-story, 10-unit apartment buildings, including a stormwater management system, utility improvements, 111 parking spaces, and 50 garage spaces, as submitted by Brian Young of Young Development on a 4.72-acre parcel located at 6026 Broadway in the town of Lancaster. Whereas the Town of Lancaster Planning Board has reviewed the environmental impact of this construction project pursuant to seeker regulations at their meeting on March 15, 2023, and recommended that a negative declaration be issued. And whereas the Town Board has duly considered the plans for the renovation project using the long environmental assessment form, the criteria for determining significance set forth in seeker regulations, and such other information deemed appropriate, including the recommendation of the Town of Lancaster Planning Board. And whereas the Town Board has identified the relevant issues of environmental concern, taken a hard look at these areas, and has made a reasoned elaboration of the basis for its determination, and whereas the proposed action has been labeled an unlisted action under seeker. Now therefore be it resolved by the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster that 1, based upon the Town Board's thorough and careful review of the proposed construction of 5 two-story, 10-unit apartment buildings, including a stormwater management system, utility improvements, 111 parking spaces, and 50 garage spaces, as submitted by Brian Young of the Young Development on a 4.72-acre parcel located at 6026 Broadway in the town of Lancaster, will not result in any significant environmental impacts, and hereby issues a negative declaration pursuant to seeker for the reasons stated therein. 2, the town clerk shall file a copy of the negative declaration in the file for the project. 3, the town attorney's office shall prepare and file a notice of determination of non-significance with the petitioner and with all required New York State and Erie County agencies, following a copy of the letter of transmittal. Number 4, this resolution is effective immediately.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question, on the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazur?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes. Councilmember Burkhart, number 16, please.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor and Honorable Town Board. I am offering Resolution 16 for adoption. Whereas the Village of Lancaster Mayor Lynn Ruda has requested that the Town of Lancaster Police Captain be present at pre-scheduled village board meetings and occasional special meetings when requested by a village board member or village clerk to address potential security issues and provide information relating to policing and matters. Whereas the Village of Lancaster has prepared intermunicipal cooperation agreement specifying the terms and conditions for said request, which has been reviewed and approved by the police chief and the town attorney, and whereas compensation of the town for a captain's attendance at pre-scheduled and special village board meetings will be made in the amount of reimbursable expenses incurred pursuant to the terms and conditions of proposed agreement between the town and the village as presented. Now therefore be it resolved, the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster hereby approves the intermunicipal cooperation agreement between the Town of Lancaster and the Village of Lancaster as presented, allowing a Town of Lancaster police captain to attend pre-scheduled village board meetings and when requested by a village board member or village clerk, special village board meetings, and be it further resolved, the village shall reimburse the town for expenses incurred pursuant to the terms of the proposed agreement as presented, and be it further resolved, the prior agreement between the parties is hereby deemed rescinded upon execution of the new agreement by both parties, and be it further resolved that the Town Board of Town of Lancaster hereby authorizes the supervisor to execute this agreement, which shall take effect immediately and shall remain in effect until such time as either party terminates according to the terms of the agreement.
May I have a second?
Second?
On the question? On the roll?
Excuse me, Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazur?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes. Councilmember Mazur, number 17, please.
Yes, Mr. Supervisor and Honorable Town Board, I offer the following resolution and move for its adoption. Whereas the Town Board is considering the proposed development of a parcel involving approximately 5.56 acres, project being a mixed use of apartments and retail with 4.5 acre physically disturbed area located at 5428 Genesee Street in the Town of Lancaster, and whereas the Town of Lancaster Planning Board has reviewed the environmental impact of this construction project pursuant to the secret regulations at their meeting on March 15, 2023, and recommended that a negative declaration be issued, and whereas the Town Board has duly considered the plans for the renovation project using the long environmental assessment form, the criteria for determining significance set forth in seeker regulations, and such other information deemed appropriate, including the recommendation of the Town of Lancaster Planning Board, and whereas the Town Board has identified the relevant areas of environmental concern, has taken a hard look at these areas, and has made a reasoned elaboration of the basis for its determination, and whereas the proposed action has been labeled unlisted action under seeker. Now therefore it be it resolved by the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster that one, based upon the Town Board's thorough and careful review of the proposed development of parcel involving approximately 5.56 acres, project being a mixed use of apartments and retail with 4.5 acre physically disturbed area located at 5428 Genesee Street in the Town of Lancaster, will not result in any significant environmental impacts, and hereby issues a negative declaration pursuant to seeker for the reasons stated therein. 2, the town clerk shall file a copy of the negative declaration in the file for the project. 3, the town attorney's office shall prepare and file a notice of determination of non-significance with the petitioner and with all required New York State and county agencies, filing a copy of the letter of transmittal. And 4, the resolution is effective immediately.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazur?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes. Councilmember Dickman, would you present number 18, please?
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor and Honorable Board. I offer Resolution 18 for adoption. Whereas the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster held a public hearing on May 16, 2022, pursuant to the Code of the Town of Lancaster upon the application of Anderson's Frozen Custard by Keith Anderson for a special use permit to allow Anderson's Frozen Custard to operate an indoor dining area, an outdoor dining area, and a food service drive-through on the premise located at 4855 Transit Road in the Town of Lancaster. And whereas by letter dated October 26, 2022, Town of Lancaster Senior Code Enforcement Officer Matt Fischione recommended issuance of a special use permit for the period of 2 years. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster does grant a special use permit to Anderson's Frozen Custard to operate an indoor dining area, an outdoor dining area, and a food service drive-through on the premise located at 4855 Transit Road in the Town of Lancaster upon the terms and conditions set forth in the zoning ordinance for the period of April 4th, 2023 through April 3rd, 2025. And that the applicant will continue in compliance with the conditions as set forth under special use permits, general commercial of the Code of the Town of Lancaster, as long as the applicant continues to engage in said business, and to any additional conditions listed therein, and the permit is to be renewed every 2 years. The applicant will authorize representatives from the building inspector's office to enter upon reasonable notice. The applicant will provide proof of New York State business license, and no amplified sound is to be transmitted to the outside dining area, including music and sporting events.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question?
I have a couple of questions. Matt, did we ever look at making the traffic turn left? I mean, the window is on the south side of the building, correct? Okay. There's an open driveway that goes right into Michael Anthony Lane. We have had numerous people from Michael Anthony Lane complain about the fact that they don't have a light there, and they have a hard time getting out. Now, the light at Delta Sonic has helped out somewhat, but now you're going to take a whole bunch of people, put them through the drive-through, leave that open where they can pull right onto Michael Anthony Lane. So have we explored having them go back through the parking lot, taking a different exit?
Well, they do have the access agreement with the Value Shopping Center. There's 2 other additional driveway openings on Transit Road where traffic could exit.
Okay, is there any way to shut down the one that goes to Michael Anthony Lane?
I'm not sure. Not too sure about that.
Well, I would ask that we explore that before we vote on this. Or add that as, well, I don't know how we add it as a condition. First, we got to explore it and see.
Yeah, I don't know how that works with, I don't know if they rent that space, if they own that portion, if they have a right of way to.
They own that portion of the property.
They own
There's
that.
cross-access agreements there, and this comes on the recommendation of the planning board on the original site plan. They couldn't meet their parking requirements for the outside dining portion of the restaurant, so they chose to do the interior renovations until they were able to file the parking agreement with the Value Shopping Center on the adjacent parcel, which they were able to satisfy.
But correct me if I'm wrong, one of the special use permits, one of the things we're supposed to be looking for is the impact on the residents in the area?
Traffic impact, I believe, was addressed through State Department of Transportation for Transit Road at that intersection.
Did they factor in here the window for the ice cream?
That was the project
all the
that was
other
presented
vehicles?
under the coordinated review at the time.
Well, personally, I think we need to find a different way for these people to get out of there. It's your resolution if you want to keep it going at this point. I'm still getting complaints from the people in the area, and they're not happy with what this is going to cause, the impact this is going to have on the residents in the area, so.
I mean, we know there's a traffic problem there, definitely, but I just don't know how you can differentiate if it's traffic for Anderson's, if it's traffic for Sherwin-Williams, if it's traffic for Value. How are you going to differentiate who goes which way out, which driveway, unless the property owner from Value would somehow agree to close off the exit that goes out to Michael Anthony? But I don't know if that's something he'd be willing to do at his expense for Anderson's to be able to get their special use permit.
Yeah, the issue is you're putting a whole bunch more people right there in that spot. Okay, on a nice hot day, I imagine everybody likes Anderson's, they're going to be going there. You're going to have a nice line going there, and there's going to be people pulling right out into Michael Anthony, which is going to affect the already, the traffic issues that already exist.
I mean, I'd be willing to look into it further and table it until the next meeting if we can, get some ideas from.
Now we're shutting the business down. I mean,
Yeah.
this is gonna take some time, and I think if we say yes to it, and we look into it, and we meet with the owners, and with that, if the traffic pattern increases, we can have that also, to look at it and say, okay, this has increased, this has become even more of a problem, now we have even more to either shut it down or get another light in there.
You're saying add another condition and discuss it with the property owner, add a condition if traffic backs up and we have problems and
Correct.
Worsens, then we're gonna have to suspend your special use permit, is that what you're saying?
Or we can turn around and can we talk to the owner of Value and yourself, either block that off or come up with another solution for at that spot.
Well, if you want to add a condition in there, I don't have a problem with going through if we're going to take a look at the traffic over the next.
Absolutely. And I think that would be the best thing
Word
because,
something legally in there to put in there?
Yeah, is that okay to do, Tom, if we just add a condition that,
That they're not aware of?
Well, then I suggest, how about if we just table it to the next meeting? Because,
How long does that shut them down for then? Are they dependent upon this resolution to move forward?
I don't believe so. Again, the special use permit is a renewable permit
Okay.
that would enforce any site plan conditions, again, that had gone through a review process. I just want to remind this board that the driveway out onto Michael Anthony Lane is under the ownership of the 4855 Transit Road. It has nothing to do with the the Value Shopping Center. It's their driveway onto their property. And through the original Transit Road Access Management Overlay District, they weren't allowed a driveway out on the Transit Road. They're directed, and according to the Overlay District, it's preferred that these driveways go out onto a town road as opposed to the state highway. The whole point of the Overlay District is to reduce the number of driveways on the state highway. So whether or not Michael Anthony gets a lane, I think, or a light, may be a moot point, because one, the traffic engineers at DOT did not determine it to be significant impact to the traffic. Connector of Michael Anthony to the rear subdivisions may be a more reasonable approach to alleviate that traffic. There's been discussions back and forth, but as the application stands today, the recommendation was based on that site plan amendment that was reviewed, I think, 2 years ago. And it just now become compliant with their parking regulations. That's the only reason for its delay.
Excuse me, there's an animal hospital behind Anderson's too.
so can we add a condition in here without discussing it with Anderson's? Would that be legal, or would that even be, bad business practice to add something that trains, I'm not saying sneaking
You
here,
can
I
add the
don't know.
condition if you want to, but how do you enforce a condition that says subject to too much traffic? What defines too much traffic?
Yeah.
And my concern is, we start putting stuff in here that we can't quantify, you're just leaving yourself wide open for expensive court intervention interpretation.
And to your point, Adam, who knows who's going through that driveway?
I mean, how do you differentiate, you stop someone, oh, well, I had to go to Value and Anderson. I mean, where do you draw the line? I don't know. I agree, there's a huge traffic problem there, but
Plus, I mean, the state said they couldn't have a driveway going off the transit. So they complied to what they needed to do as well,
Yeah,
the business.
the state also said, and there was a sign before at Tim Hortons, that they couldn't make left turns out of there, and then somebody, previous board and the state took that down, and now there's problems with that. I think we're just creating another problem here, by allowing that to empty onto Michael Anthony, which already has traffic problems.
I
So
think-
again, that's my opinion.
Yeah, and Bob, when things like this come up, I really appreciate if you would do this before the meeting, so, Adam may have went out to them, maybe it's Friday or Saturday, had you asked these questions back then.
Well, unfortunately, we don't get these things till
Friday
Friday
morning,
afternoon.
afternoon, yeah.
And I wasn't, got no heads up from anybody that this particular one was coming. So, and unfortunately, being sick during the weekend, this is my first chance to really talk about it. So again, I think we need more of a heads up, and perhaps we shouldn't be voting on these things immediately after resolutions come out like this on a Friday. But if you guys want to move forward,
well, after listening to what the town attorney said, and, how do you really differentiate which traffic is coming from where, and where do you draw the line and say, this is too much traffic, this isn't? I guess it's a note for the future when these things come up, that it's something we take into consideration. But
Can I have a suggestion?
maybe we even look at the legality of doing a traffic study and putting in their special use permit the next time, saying, hey, listen, we're having problems here, we know you're coming to the board for a special use permit.
Matt,
Maybe we could request a traffic study.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
I'm sorry, Dave.
No, Matt, do special use permits have to be 1 year, or 2 year, or could you say 1 year with, is it,
The duration could be placed at the board's pleasure.
just a suggestion that we say it's a special use for 1 year and see how it goes, and then if they have to come back in next next year
It's
and
an easy draw.
reapply. I mean,
I think that's a very
Nice
fair,
idea.
I think that's a fair compromise.
Absolutely.
Maybe we don't have any issues, maybe we do, and that only binds us for a year.
So
Is
amend the
everybody good with
resolution to 1 year?
that? Yeah, I'm fine, as long as the rest of the board agrees to that,
I'm
I'll
okay
change
with
it to
that.
1 year.
Sounds
You
good.
okay with that?
Thank you.
Okay, on the roll, please.
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazur?
yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes. Okay, I'd like to move, was number 19, this resolves the Town Board of Town of Lancaster hereby grants the Lancaster Garden Club permission to use the Senior Center's parking lot located at 100 Oxford Avenue for the Plant and Garden Decor fundraiser, which will be held on June 3rd, 2023, from 10 a.m. until 5 p.m., with setup beginning at 8 a.m. May I have a second?
Second,
On the question, on the roll.
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazur?
yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes. Councilmember Leary, number 20, please.
Yes, sir. Mr. Supervisor and honorable town board members, I move the following resolution for adoption. Whereas the town board of the town of Lancaster has the responsibility and authority to make appointments to Lancaster Industrial Development Agency, and whereas Andrew Strait of the town of Lancaster has submitted his request to be appointed a member of the Lancaster Industrial Development Agency, now therefore be it resolved that Andrew Strait of the town of Lancaster be and is hereby appointed to the position of member, Lancaster Industrial Development Agency, to replace Shannon McNichol, and be it further resolved that this appointment shall be effective immediately.
May I have a second?
I'd like to request a table on this. I mean, I think it's important to have another woman's voice on the Industrial Development Agency Board. I don't, again, I'd like to see, maybe in writing from Ms. McNichol, her reasons why she missed the last 4, and especially if we had somebody miss 4 meetings last year, too.
I don't know if we should table it, because I don't know, and the board, if we're agreeing to let her go.
Well, she's, technically, Bob said she's really not been on the
She's
board.
not part of the IDA anymore. You got to do your oath of office within 30 days. and it
Well,
wasn't
that's a
done.
technicality. We've gone this road before, and I looked that up
No, I
before in the
don't.
past, and there's people from the clerk's office that didn't get it in time. There's people from all different offices that didn't have their oath of office in time. May I ask a question? Were you notified to come in for your oath of office?
I don't recall. I checked my emails, there's no email from her, and I don't recall if she called or not.
Did you, if you don't mind, did you get the notifications of the meetings?
I'm included in group emails from the chairman, yes, but
So you got the notifications December, January, February, March?
yes.
Okay.
Can I speak further on this or no?
Well, we don't want to delve into your, personal life.
It's not that. I just heard Mr. Lee after stating he called me.
Can you come up to,
Sure.
because,
Mr. Lee Master, just before you all, said that he called me multiple times and texted me multiple times. He called me once and texted me 1 time on January 18th and 19th. So it wasn't multiple times.
I'll get my phone records for the board.
Yeah, he really
Regardless of,
could and
I
should,
think regardless of all this,
but just want that.
you
to be-
came here to present yourself, to continue interest on being on this board. You are a small business owner in this community. I know when I ran the idea, I felt to have somebody like that on this board, I felt it was I want input from all different facets. So I think you're a value to that board, especially that you're making the commitment. And, I'm not in favor of having you removed from it.
Just a question.
Listen,
Can
I
you
have nothing
explain-
against Shannon McNichol. Appreciate what you did. Unfortunately, you didn't show up for 4 meetings, and we had to move forward. Now, coming from you, Mr. Supervisor, you wouldn't put the mayor, okay, from the village of Lancaster on the IDA. You wouldn't put the mayor from the village of Depew on the IDA, which led in whatever you did, a lot of these things weren't announced either. So I don't know what you're talking about here and the point you're making. I mean, I think it's great that a woman wants to be involved, but unfortunately, she wasn't able to show up for the meetings, and we got to move forward. We were warned by Mr. Zander, the attorney for the IDA, we have to move forward, and we did. And that's where we stand at this point. So I'd like to move forward with this if there is a second on it, and if there's not a second, then it's going to die anyways, but then we're going to have to come up with somebody else. Did anybody second it?
Do you have an explanation why you didn't even email and just state that I cannot make it? Because it doesn't take that long, or even a text.
I
to
had
anyone.
personal family problems within the first quarter of this year, and then last December, I was on one trip in February in Tennessee. So outside of that, I had family problems. So, but I'm here now, and I can commit to the remaining 9 sessions of this year. And I can put that in writing, I will be here, but I trust all of your judgment, and you voted me in. So I thank you. I'm happy to have finally met half of you. I've only met half of you. But I'm here, and I can be here for the rest of the year, should you all choose. I'm leaning on everyone's best judgment. I do believe in Lancaster. I believe in all of what all of you guys are doing. To be a part of it, it's an honor. Like I said, I'm asked to sit on many boards. I decline them all. This is the only board I care to sit on. This board, and then one board for the Board of Realtors. I am on the New York State Association of Realtors Board of Directors, as well as the Buffalo Niagara Association Board of Directors, but that has to do with my career. This is the one board that I agreed to join because it has to do with the community. A couple years ago, I reached out to members of the Lancaster Village in town, and I said, if there's anything real estate related that I could bring my expertise to, you know, real estate is my background, small business is my passion, more so than real estate. So someone reached out and said, you might be a good fit for this board. I actually spoke with Dino at length about it. I said, do you really think I'm a good fit? Because I don't take it lightly when I sit on a board. I don't like to feel incompetent. I don't like to sit on a board just to sit on a board. My time is very valuable. I am very expensive per hour. So for me to commit, it's a lot. And I can give you the rest of the year. And then it seemed as though this last year, the big turnover, there was a lot of struggle with the board last year, everyone getting on the same page. I don't like all the politics, you know, I'm not anyone's puppet. I'm just here to be as judicial as I can and try to do what's best for Lancaster.
Was it
So
90 days for oath of office at the Hampshire?
I think it's 30.
Was it 30?
30
I
days.
believe it's 30.
30 days?
And she was sent a letter like everyone else on the organizational
in
resolution.
the mail. That's all I have.
And we did take from all different groups when we put together this IDA, and, you know, we appreciate you showing up for some of the meetings, but at some point, we just got to move forward. So that's what we're doing, and we didn't hear anything back from you, so we asked around and found some people who were interested, and they put in for the job, and unfortunately, you're not on there. Again, we appreciate what you did, but
What
we
I'll
got to
do
move forward.
Going forward, if you say that you still want to be on, I'll put a resolution to put you back on next meeting. And then you'll have to do your oath of office. Now, whether it passes or not, I don't know, but I will put a resolution on and put you back on.
I trust all of your best judgment. I'm here to serve if you need me. I'm here to offer that on LIDA.
I don't know how we write that, because she's really a continuing member, but she missed her oath of office, so we have to. It wouldn't be-
It's an easy draft.
Okay, thank you.
Before we go there, the resolution was presented. Is there a second? Is there a second on the resolution?
Okay, so
Can we table it? and
I would be in favor. I mean, a lot of things came up today, and, you know, to be honest, I was kind of leaning one way. I heard part of it today, and all this stuff since 5:30 today just kind of came at me from 100 directions, and honestly, I don't feel prepared to vote either way on this today. I've heard a lot of things tonight that I can neither confirm nor deny, because I haven't heard them until tonight, and to do my job the right way, I feel that I need to research things and look into everything and get all the facts, get everything in order before I can make the right decision. And I would like to ask to table it to the next meeting too. This is a tough one, and I just want to have all my bases covered and make the decision for what's right for Lancaster.
I think it would be the fairest thing to do for all the parties involved.
To table it? Okay.
Until next meeting.
I'll table it till the next meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
let me know when you're ready.
Ready.
Okay, we're going to go on to communications. Number 185 is resolutions tonight. 186 and 187 received and filed. 188 and 189, resolution tonight. 190, received and filed. 191 and 192, resolution tonight. 193, received and filed. 194 and 195 are for resolution. 196 is town attorney. 197, resolution tonight. 198, received and filed. 199 for resolution. 200 through 204, received and filed. Okay, so that brings us to the part of the meeting where anybody could come and comment to the town board with a 5-minute time limit on any subject matter. If you'd like to comment, please raise your hand, come to the podium, state your name and address. Yes, sir?
My name is Dan, Erie County. My residency is Erie County. I come here.
I'm sorry, that's not proper. We need your name, full name, and we need your address.
I don't wish to waive my Fourth Amendment right to speak to the public board.
We can't record you. Town attorney?
I don't wish to waive my Fourth Amendment right to speak in the public forum.
You can speak?
You can speak.
Okay.
I come to address the board about something that comes to my attention. I am Dan from Auditing Erie County. I am a First Amendment auditor of this local area, and the police department has a sign in their lobby that says members of the public are prohibited from video recording and photography inside the facility. And I'm specifically speaking about the publicly accessible lobby. I'm not talking about the back rooms, because I can understand that is restricted access and we are not allowed to go back there and freely film, but the publicly accessible areas is a constitutionally protected area to be able to film in. Now, on March 21st of 2001, I did my First Amendment audit ever in the Erie County area, and this police department, Lancaster Police Department, did not have this sign. It was brought to my attention around September 22nd of 2022 that this sign was put up in the lobby. This sign here contradicts the United States Constitution. And my problem with this is right above this sign in the first lobby, because there's two lobbies to the police station. There's the first lobby, then there's the main lobby. Right above the main, the first entrance, the corridor to that thing, there's a sign above this sign that I just showed you here that says filming is prohibited by members of the public. And the sign reads, "Men and women of the Lancaster Police Department shall respect and protect the rights of individuals." Then right underneath it, they got a contradictory sign that says they're going to ban public photography in this room. Number one, this sign in the police department lobby has no penal code underneath it. It is not a law. It would be against the Constitution for there to be a sign that says no photography in the publicly accessible areas. So I'm asking that the town board look into this because there's a few problems with this. One, there's a sign that says the Lancaster Police Department is here to protect the rights of the citizens and the individuals, and then they have a sign below it that contradicts that. So I'm asking that we either take down the sign that says the Lancaster Police are here to protect the rights of the individuals, or we're going to have to take down the unconstitutional sign because they contradict each other. And my biggest problem with this sign is that Lancaster Police are going to have a bad image from this because I teach the people their constitutional right of freedom of the press. That means any member of the public can be the press at any point in time. You're the press, we're all the press. Everybody in this stand here is the press at any point in time. It's just freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of the press. It's a constitutional right. It makes the police department look dirty because I spend my time teaching the public that they can record in there. Now, I went on the 22nd and I talked to a Lieutenant Spire, and I brought it to the attention of the Lancaster Police Department, my concern about this sign. And nothing was done, so I've come here to talk to you guys today. As far as March 31st of this month, last month, 2023, this sign is still up in the police department. These signs need to come down. The people are sick of police lying to them. We don't know when we can trust the police anymore because the police lie. And this sign here definitely hinders the trust of the police to the public. And on that matter, I want to say one thing. 50 years ago, the most hated man in America would have been a cop killer. All right? Nowadays, when we hear in the news that a cop got shot, that's not so anymore. All right? People go, oh, what did that cop do to deserve it? And this is the atmosphere that the police are creating for themselves. And I want to know, what did the police do to their image that it is not the most hated man in America when a cop gets killed? And I'm no way insinuating that somebody should go out and shoot police officers. I'm just making a point that 50 years ago, that would have been the most hated man in America, and no longer is it that way. All right? There's things like Uvalde that devastate the police's image. And this sign here is one thing that definitely it hinders the police's image. I'm asking that the town either force the police department to take the signs down. Now, on the day that I did visit, they said the purpose of this sign is that someone coming into the police department who wants to produce a crime or tell the police something, they would say, oh, when somebody's recording in there, that person might be shy to do so. But what I'm saying is this sign warranted?
5 minutes are up.
Is this time warranted enough?
We have a 5-minute limit, sir. Thank you for your comments. Anybody else like to speak? Yes, sir?
Public trust is what we're asking for out here.
Sir, excuse me, but to say that about our Lancaster Police Department, you are very wrong.
Please address us.
Thank you. That needs to be said. I personally trust each police officer in our Lancaster like you all do. Without them, and with the New York State, the way it's going, allowing them to arrest somebody and let them go for anything is disastrous on common man and woman. That is, to say that about our Lancaster Police Department, he has no idea who they are and what they stand for. That's all I got to say about that one. Going to the IDA committee or any other committee that's in Lancaster in itself, including the planning board where you have volunteers, yes, I do understand, rightfully so, everybody, including me, we all go through issues in life, so be it physical, family, on and on. But when you join a committee of that, the IDA or a planning committee, especially the IDA, I've listened to enough of the videos, it's so important that a committee person should be there because it went through the steps from the planning board to the town board, on and on, to Matthew, to everybody. So once it gets to the IDA, that's almost like this is a industrial business coming to the IDA to ask for tax breaks. If all the members, and there's only, how many votes? 6 votes, Mr. Leary?
There's 6 people currently on there.
Yes.
There should be 7.
7.
Got to do it. It's got to be odd numbers. We can either get rid of somebody, get it down to 5. You can't keep it at an even number. So right now there are 6 people on the IDA.
And that would be for the voting process that I fully understand for years. You want that one member to maybe vote yea or nay. But it's so duly important under this committee what I see them do for the future of Lancaster and now Depew. Without all the members being there in a constant, yes, you could be sick one day or whatever, and not to call the chairman or any other officer on there. That is, they need to move forward right now. And to miss that amount of time, personally speaking, if you're going through that type of issue, you should just resign and give another volunteer a chance to serve on the IDA. It's only the right thing to do. We all, if you can't make the committee meetings, I've been there too. I resigned.
Anybody else like to speak? Yes, sir.
Go ahead. All right. Good evening. How are you guys tonight? I'm Tom Sweeney, representing the Lancaster Depew Area Chamber of Commerce, and just wanted to come bring something to your attention. We have an awards dinner coming up and a community celebration, and I wanted to invite everybody to that on April 26th. And also, we are still up for nominations. We're still actively looking for nominations for 10 categories. Small, medium, and large business of the year at the top 3. We have New Business of the Year, Nonprofit Organization of the Year, Citizen of the Year, Educator of the Year, Celebrating Women in Business Award, Volunteer of the Year, and Young Entrepreneur of the Year. All of those nominations, and the selection committee will announce the winners before the meeting at the awards dinner. And the nominations are currently due and being accepted through this Thursday. The nomination selection committee will meet on Friday and Monday and into next week to vote for those. So I wanted to bring that to everybody's attention. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dennis Tanaszewski, 859 Ransom Road, Lancaster. I just want to say thank you for the town board to give me an opportunity to get my father's junkyard back into compliance. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Good luck.
Okay, that's it. Everybody spoke. I just want to make one comment, and I think I'll probably get the whole board. We are very proud of the police department, our accredited police department. They service us very well. They service our residents very well. We have letters of recommendation on how good of a job they do over and over again. They are outreach to our community. They are outreach to our students. They are the outreach to the general public in general. So we're very proud, and I think I'm speaking for everybody.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Could I say something about the police too?
Sure.
I don't have a problem with the police, I have a problem with the sign. Just the sign, to let them know. No, you have a problem.
All right.
Let's not engage, please.
A year and a half ago, in my father's junkyard, the front parking lot, probably about a 25 or 28-foot fiberglass boat was dumped off. I found it in the morning, going to the doctor. I didn't know what to do. I called up the Lancaster Police. They came down when I got back from the doctor. The one officer looked on the trailer. He found an old inspection sticker, registration sticker, and he traced down one of the old owners and got a hold of him. Says, we don't care that you sold this boat to this guy, that guy, that guy, this guy. It was illegally dumped off in this guy's parking lot. He can't deal with fiberglass boats, and it was removed that day. Thanks to the Lancaster Police.
I'm going to ask for a motion to go into executive session.
Motion to go in.
May I have a second? On the roll, please.
Yeah, I get that. Made the motion.
Motion, right?
Burkhart?
Barker, motion. Mazer, second.
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazer?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes. Thank you all for attending.
Thank you.